Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're plunging into a concept that, well, it might sound a bit academic at first,
Mm-hmm.
but it's actually shaping your reality, influencing your daily choices, even how you see yourself, often without you even noticing.
Yeah,
We're going to pull back the curtain on this hidden hand, this subtle yet really powerful force.
that's exactly right. Our deep dive today is into symbolic violence. It's a foundational idea from the sociologist Pierre Bourdieu.
Right, Bourdieu.
And our goal really is to shine a light on how these subtle, often invisible forces work, how they shape your understanding of the world, your experiences, without any obvious pushing or shoving.
Okay. So our mission here is pretty straightforward. We've got these excerpts from The Hidden Hand of Symbolic Violence,
Yep.
and we're going to distill the most important bits, the key insights. So by the end, you'll not only grasp this powerful idea, but hopefully have a new lens to view your world.
And a new perspective.
So let's get into it. Symbolic violence. When we say that, we're definitely not talking about, a physical fight.
No.
It's something sneakier, right?
Can you help us picture what this non-physical coercion actually looks like day to day?
Exactly. So at its core, symbolic violence is, well, it's non-physical, often invisible. It's not about direct force.
Right.
It's more about the everyday imposition of systems of meaning, norms, and the crucial thing, it works subtly through language, ideology, social expectations, and it gets internalized by everyone, both the dominant groups and those subjected to it.
So wait, it's not just that people don't see it, but they actually accept these norms, even if they're disadvantaged by them. That sounds, I don't know, like a kind of subtle trick.
That's precisely it. It happens when power structures, cultural norms, dominant ideas, they're just accepted as natural or legitimate, even by those who are frankly disadvantaged by them.
Wow.
It doesn't rely on, police force or overt threats. It works through consent, socialization, belief. So people are kind of unknowingly playing along.
Yes, participating in their own subjugation, basically, just by internalizing these ways of thinking. It's like a silent agreement that keeps hierarchies in place.
Okay, that's the theory.
Mhm.
But let's make it real. I imagine a lot of you listening might be thinking, all right, it's subtle, I get that, but where would I actually see this hidden hand?
Good question.
Can we maybe get some concrete examples from the sources?
Absolutely. And the source material gives us some really vivid ones. Take educational systems.
Okay, schools. Yeah.
Schools often value, sometimes without even saying it, a specific kind of cultural capital.
What do you mean by cultural capital?
Things like a certain vocabulary, particular ways of behaving, even aesthetic tastes, stuff that's more common in dominant social groups.
Right.
And this can subtly punish kids from other backgrounds. They might get labeled underperforming or, uncultured.
Mm-hmm.
So a student from, say, a working class family
Yeah.
might actually start to believe they're not smart enough,
Oh, wow.
when really the system just privileges middle class values and language that maybe aren't second nature to them.
That really hits home. So if a student isn't speaking the right code, it's seen as they're failing, not a mismatch with the system itself.
You've got it. It sort of reframes what underperforming even means in that context.
Okay, that's a powerful one.
Another big one is beauty standards. Think about the media.
Oh, yeah.
It relentlessly pushes certain skin tones, body types, hair textures as the ideal. The psychological effect of this is huge.
I can imagine.
Individuals who don't fit these standards, which are often arbitrary and exclusionary anyway, can start feeling inadequate, ashamed even.
So it's like we absorb these messages constantly.
Exactly, without really stopping to question why those specific things are considered beautiful.
So those magazine covers, the ads, they're not just selling stuff, they're selling a standard that makes us feel bad if we don't measure up.
Precisely. It shapes self-worth in a really insidious way. And then there's language and accent discrimination.
Ah, okay. Tell me more.
Well, you know how certain accents, often say urban or maybe Western ones, are heard as more professional or educated,
Mm-hmm. I know what you mean.
while others, regional accents, indigenous accents, non-standard ones, might be perceived as uneducated or less capable.
Right. There's definitely a bias there.
And the result, people might self-censor, they might change how they speak, adopt dominant accents just to fit in or get ahead professionally or socially.
Wow. So it affects how we literally present ourselves, our voice, just to conform to some unspoken rule.
Just like a silent demand.
Yeah.
Embedded in our interactions.
Yeah.
And one more key example, Gender roles.
Of course.
Traditional roles often get passed off as just natural for men and women through all sorts of subtle cues in society, media, family.
Everywhere, really.
And the source specifically mentions women who might internalize the idea that, leadership roles just aren't really for them, even if no one directly says you can't be a leader.
So it becomes part of their own self-perception.
Exactly. Part of their belief about their own capabilities.
These examples really show how pervasive this is. It's like it just chips away at you subtly. But how does it work on a deeper level? Psychologically, how does this quiet force actually twist our perception, make us accept things that might actually hold us back?
Well, that's the really fascinating part. Symbolic violence works by fundamentally manipulating perception.
How so?
It disguises social hierarchies. It makes them look like common sense or morality.
Yeah.
It makes deep inequalities seem like they're just the result of individual talent or lack thereof, rather than, structural bias.
So it masks the real source of the problem.
Precisely. And the outcomes are, well, insidious. Victims tend to blame themselves for their situation.
Oh, that's rough.
Dominant groups maintain their power without looking like they're being oppressive. And institutions keep reproducing inequality without using overt force. It's a system that sort of fuels itself through belief, internalized belief.
It's like a magic trick where the audience willingly participates, almost. And you mentioned Bourdieu as the architect here. How does this concept, symbolic violence, fit into his bigger picture, his other ideas?
Yeah, good question. Think of Bourdieu's concepts as like interconnected pieces. Symbolic violence is kind of the glue. It shows how ingrained power really operates.
Oh, okay.
It shapes our habitus. That's basically the set of deeply ingrained habits, skills, dispositions we get from our environment, the lens through which we see the world.
Right, the internalized stuff.
Exactly. Then there's the field. These are the structured social arenas like education, art, politics, media, where people struggle for position and dominance. Symbolic violence is how power is often wielded and accepted within these fields.
Makes sense.
And finally, capital. For Bourdieu, this isn't just money.
Right, you mentioned that.
There's cultural capital, your knowledge, skills, credentials. Social capital, your networks, your connections. And symbolic capital, prestige, recognition, honor. And these different types of capital are unequally distributed. Symbolic violence helps ensure that certain kinds of capital are seen as more valuable, more legitimate, which just reinforces the existing social order.
That really ties it all together, how these abstract concepts become really tangible forces. So, thinking about all this isn't just theory for academics. What are the real-world consequences of this quiet force? And maybe more importantly, what power does simply understanding it give you listening?
The implications are definitely significant. For one thing, it points to huge policy blind spots.
So?
Well, if policymakers don't recognize or address symbolic violence, they ignore how systems can quietly oppress certain groups. Policies might seem fair on the surface, but if they don't account for these subtle power dynamics, they can actually end up perpetuating inequality.
Right. Good intentions aren't enough if the underlying dynamic isn't seen.
Exactly. And secondly, there's a serious toll on mental health. Think about it. Constant invalidation, always feeling less than because you don't fit the dominant mold. That can lead to chronic anxiety, self-doubt, what's called internalized depression. It's heavy.
It really sounds like a heavy weight, yeah. Knowing these forces are at play. But is there hope? Does just being aware of symbolic violence actually do anything for us? Does it unlock something?
Absolutely. Awareness is incredibly powerful. Understanding symbolic violence is the first step towards resistance.
Resistance? How?
And empowers cultural resistance, linguistic resistance, ideological resistance. The source mentions things like reclaiming terms that were used as insults.
Okay, like turning a negative into a positive.
Exactly. Or promoting diverse representation in media, in leadership roles, pushing for decolonizing education, including perspectives and histories that have been sidelined.
So shining a light on other ways of being, other histories.
Precisely. When you recognize that these norms aren't natural or inevitable, but are actually socially constructed, you gain the power to challenge them.
Ah, I see.
This awareness, for you listening, is crucial. It's the doorway to empowered action, to changing your perspective, maybe pushing back against those subtle pressures and asserting your own value, your own ways of being.
And that feels like a really important takeaway. So that's our journey today into symbolic violence. We've unpacked a concept that, yeah, it seems complex at first, but it gives you such a powerful lens to view the world differently, to see those subtle influences we usually just take for granted.
And maybe a final thought for you to mull over as you go about your day. How might just being aware of these subtle forces empower you? How might it help you question what seems natural or just common sense in your own life and in the world you see around you?
Something to definitely think about. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive. Keep observing, keep exploring, and keep questioning.